In this tutorial, we're going to be learning how to make this vintage chic floral bouquet. You can pause or replay parts of the video at any time. Let's start with how to tie the knot at the end of the thread. After you've threaded the needle, take the end of the thread and cross it behind the needle so that it creates the shape of a lowercase t or a cross. Loop the thread around the needle 3 or 4 times, then pinch the section of looped thread and gently begin to pull that section down over the eye of the needle, pulling the thread tightly until it creates a knot at the end. Our first stitch that we will use will be the back stitch. This is going to be used for the mason jar and all of the stems and the sticks. Start with the mason jar. To begin this stitch, come from the back of the fabric to the front with the needle. About 1/4 inch away on the design, thread the needle going from the front of the fabric to the back. For every stitch after this, bring the needle through the back of the fabric to the front and then back down through the end of the last stitch you created. Hence the name, the back stitch. If you continue watching, you can see each time I'm going back to the hole that was created at the end of the last stitch. You repeat this for all of the sections of the mason jar, which are in light blue, and then for the stems, which are in green, and the sticks that have the berries on them, which are in brown. The next stitch that we'll be using is the lazy daisy stitch. This is probably one of the most fun stitches that we're going to use. Bring your needle up through the inside point of one of the petals. Come back down with the needle through the same point, leaving a loop. Bring your needle up through the outermost point of that petal and through the loop. Pull until it's a little snug. Then bring your needle back down right on the other side of that thread to secure the petal in place. You're going to repeat this for all of the petals of the daisies, the leaves on the stems, as well as the petals for the sunflower and chrysanthemum. The next stitch we'll be creating is the woven wheel. Create a straight stitch for each spoke of the wheel. There are 5 total spokes in each of the wheels. After you have finished all your straight stitches to create the spokes of the wheel, you are going to come up through the center of the wheel, slightly to the side of where the stitches meet in the center. Begin weaving your needle and thread under and over the spokes until you have filled the entire circle. To end the stitch, simply bring your thread to the back of the fabric and secure it with a knot. We'll be using this stitch for all of the roses. For the next stitch, we'll be using a French knot. Bring your needle up through the center of the sunflower. Pinch the thread with your non-dominant hand about 2 to 3 inches away from the fabric, crossing your needle behind the small section of thread. Loop the thread around the needle 2 to 3 times depending on the size you'd like your knot to be. Then place the needle back down through the same hole while gently holding the thread taut. Pull all the way through until you are sure the knot is all the way down on the fabric. I find that sometimes it helps to actually hold the knot down with my finger as I pull the thread through. We'll be using the French knot for the center of the sunflowers, the center of the daisies, as well as to make the blueberries, and center of the chrysanthemum. The last stitch we'll be using is the running stitch. This is the only time we will not tie a knot at the end of our thread. A running stitch is done by weaving the thread in and out of the fabric with equal distance between each stitch. Begin by leaving a generous amount of thread at the beginning of the stitch. Continue stitching in and out of the fabric until you've completed a full circle. This is used for finishing and securing the edges of the fabric when you are done stitching your design. At the end, remove your needle, grab the two loose ends, pull together, and secure by tying a double knot. Next, trim off the excess ends with the scissor. Congratulations on finishing your piece!